Hi, my name is Tara Ricksen. I'll be reporting for Costa Mesa Brief. We're here at the OC GOP rally where numerous candidates will be speaking. We're also here to interview some voters to get their opinions about the state of affairs in America. So, first question, what do you think about Joe Biden's speech last week in front of Independence Hall?
I think it really embodied how divisive the Democrats have become. I think that if you look at that background with the dark, scary, red kind of ambiance going on there, I think that really embodies the opposite direction that as a country we need to be headed. We need to be unifying this country. But what Joe Biden was speaking about, demonizing fellow Americans, calling them like this evil MAGA force, I think that's really the wrong thing that as the president he should be saying.
Are you concerned that America is headed towards socialism?
I am. I'm definitely seeing that happen more and more. I mean, here in California, we've already kind of gone further down that path than other states, but I think Joe Biden is accelerating that, and I think you're seeing more and more handouts going out, and I think you're seeing more and more big government taking away the position of where the private sector, churches, family, all these different roles used to play.
And where are you from, Victor?
Formerly from Soviet Union.
Do you see America sliding towards socialism?
Absolutely, and very rapidly, unfortunately.
What are the key indicators that you're noticing?
Key indicators that the second major party, Democratic Party, has shifted very far to the left. And we that know what communism, what Marxism is all about, and socialism, we see the traits, we see the same desire of ruling class and party to create a state where there is no opposition, where there is no exchange of opinions, and now, hearing.
What do you think about Joe Biden's speech? What's your opinion of his speech last Thursday at Independence Hall?
Yeah, the speech is probably one of the most divisive and abusive, and really tells you what they think, a ruling class of Democratic Party, of regular, ordinary working people.
Labeling half of America domestic extremists.
Right, not in worse like half fascists, because they have no clue who the fascists are. But they probably want to become one fascist party if no objections, no ruling, no
one party rule.
One party rule, then it's very fascistic.
What is your opinion of Joe Biden's speech last Thursday?
Very depressing.
What do you think about him labeling half of America extremists?
Well, I think that's very unwise. I think that it shows that he doesn't think. He can't think. I think it shows that he's not for unity. And I think I want America together again. And he's not the guy to do it.
Do you think America's headed towards socialism?
Absolutely.
What's your opinion of Joe Biden's speech last Thursday at Independence Hall?
Well, it's interesting because the current mayor in Costa Mesa actually labeled the opponents in the Costa Mesa City Council races as extremist candidates. And then the following day, Joe Biden made his speech. So it's divisive language. It has no place in municipal elections. And really, most of the issues that face us as a city are nonpartisan issues. If standing for family values and wanting to make sure that the city of Costa Mesa remains livable for my 3-year-old and my 3-month-old, if that makes me an extremist, I guess I've been labeled.
What are the most pressing issues, in your opinion, that's happening in your community?
Well, I work in development, so affordable housing development and is a concern and an issue in our area. The housing element that has just been recently updated in the state of California. I have a young daughter, so education is always, healthcare education is always on the forefront.
Are you concerned about the woke agenda? The school boards, or some school boards, are promoting for in elementary school?
I find it very inappropriate, and it is a concern of mine. As I said, I have a daughter in daycare, 16 months old, who will be then, going through this system, and it's an absolute concern of mine, and something I never thought that I would have to consider as a parent.
Do you have confidence in the public school system?
I don't. And so, I have to think about where I will want to send my daughter, whether that be private or, public. And to have to think about that now and be very concerned is kind of sad.
And what are some issues that you're championing?
Well, the first one for me is, by background, I'm a certified financial planner and a certified public accountant in my practice days. And I've served in public office for a little while in various capacities, and now I'm thinking it would be nice to settle down. But you look at the balance sheet of Costa Mesa, and you take the unrestricted net position for governmental activities. I know this gets a little complex, but every city prepares an audited financial statement, and you divide that number by the population of the city, and you do that for all 34 cities in Orange County, and Costa Mesa has the largest per capita deficit of all 34 cities. We owe, if everybody in Costa Mesa had to pay something to make the city whole and even, it would be $2,200 per person. Now, we've got the city of Westminster just down the street that's already using the B word. We will go bankrupt if we don't extend our sales tax. Their per capita is only $1,000 per person. We are in twice bad shape as Westminster. Whereas you look at, say, Irvine, they're a positive $1,400. So we got like a $3,600 spread per person. So we've got to figure out, how do we take care of our debts? Our debts exceed our assets by a phenomenal
So
number.
fiscal responsibility is
It's about
one
$250
of your...
million that we're upside down. So that's the number one priority. So that affects the budget. It crowds everything else out. I'm worried about public safety. I'm worried about the homeless. And the city's solution is to put Measure K on the ballot, which would expand the housing in Costa Mesa, which is fine, but who needs 11,000 units with 30,000 more people when you don't have the money to improve the roads or the infrastructure? So I think we got to look at a lot of things and say, wait a second, are we happy with what's happening in Costa Mesa, or do we need new management?
Well, I think probably the most important issue in San Clemente is sand replenishment. The Army Corps of Engineers, takes 20 years to get this process done. I want to expedite the sand replenishment project in San Clemente, and also the desalination plant in Doheny Beach. I'd like San Clemente to partner with the South County Water District and build a desalination plant in Doheny Beach.
What is your opinion of Joe Biden's speech last Thursday at Independence Hall?
It was pathetic. It was dark. It was evil to attack half of the population of America. And it's sad. It's scary and it's sad.
What issues are you championing?
Well, we need to clean up the homeless population and public safety. The most essential role of government is public safety, making sure people feel safe in their schools, homes, and economic development. We can't pay for the best and brightest in law enforcement and firefighters if we don't have a robust economy. So I'm a free market, pro-growth candidate who believes in helping the businesses and by helping them get out of their way and letting the free market work. I'm a free market capitalist.
What is your opinion of Joe Biden's speech last Thursday at Independence Hall?
Well, I think he's been a disaster all the way around. I mean, the fact of the matter is he's not been a leader. And last election cycle, he stayed in a bunker, didn't say what he stood for. And now when people see what he's standing for, you're going to see a massive wave coming on this November from the local level to the state level to the federal level of people who think like myself. Free market people that believe that you know better than the government.
What do you think about Joe Biden's speech last Thursday at Independence Hall?
I think that was terrible. It's pitting American against American. It's just the worst that I've ever seen out of a president.
Do you think America is sliding towards socialism?
Well, yeah, we're a long way from there, but it is heading in that direction. And I think we need to stop that slide.
What about Joe Biden calling half of Americans extremists?
Well, that was really a terrible thing. He's pretty extreme himself.
What do you see are the looming threats or issues that you need to address?
I think in our district it's really clear. It's the economy. People can't pay that $7 gas. They're having a hard time with rent. I get that a lot in my office, is that I am struggling and I don't know how I'm going to make it. What are we going to do? We're on a fixed income, limited income. How are we going to manage it?
What are your solutions?
My solutions is, make sure that we cut those taxes. We got all these crazy spending bills that are just adding more and more taxes on top of the old taxes, which are already way too high. I'd like to see a middle income tax break too, so that, those of us that work hard keep our money.
What is your opinion of Joe Biden's speech last Thursday at Independence Hall?
It's so sad. It's terrible that it's come to this point where we can't get along with the other side. And to attack MAGA candidates, MAGA people, 80 million Americans, that's just, tragic. It should never happen, and especially by the president, because he represents everyone. He's not just representing his favorites.
Well, in LA County, my greatest concern, and this is probably the greatest concern of most people, is the rising crime, especially because of the fact that we have a DA who's really favoring criminals rather than the victims right now.
Do you think there's been an increase in crime due to the early release of prisoners?
I think so. I think that's one of the biggest reasons. We're seeing a lot of people, in fact, most people being released early reoffending, and that's, especially affecting small communities with a lot of residents who just want to live their daily lives, but they have to worry about their cars getting broken into, their homes being robbed while they're at work. So,
what do you think about Joe Biden's speech at Independence Hall labeling half of Americans domestic extremists?
Well, I think that's just ridiculous. He talks a lot about unifying this country, but talking about that, labeling Republicans as extremists, does just the opposite.
What issues will you champion as a supervisor?
Absolutely, homelessness, mental health issues, cost of living. We need to do a total audit to determine whether the taxpayer dollars that go to our county government are being spent efficiently and for the services that are promised them.
Wonderful. Well, I'm very happy that you're running and that you won the primary, and I know you're going to win November.
Thank you. I hope so, and I'm all about the people. Our government is loved by and for the people, and our bureaucracies have taken over, and we have to end that. That is one of the things I will champion.
Do you think as a supervisor we have any control over our elections and how our election process goes?
Oh, yes. We appoint the registrar of voters. So we have a lot to say, and I feel that our former Neil Kelly, he was the standard bearer, and I do believe that our new registrar is following in his footsteps, but I will certainly be watching very carefully and overseeing that.
Open border crisis, that is contributing to the millions of the migrants that have come across the border illegally. That is undermining our legal immigration, and that is bringing so many thousands of pounds of fentanyl. That is the largest cause of death for the Americans between the age of 18 and 45. We need to put that under control. And I was appalled when our federal government does not have a comprehensive southern border. So after I visited our southern borders multiple times, I came up with a legislation that is already introduced and passed the House, and that is, it's called this Comprehensive Southern Border Strategy Act. It's going to work on coming up with a mile-by-mile strategy at our thousands of miles of border. And come up with one in Texas. We need to finish the wall. And the materials that were purchased to finish that wall, which is stopped right now because Biden administration said don't do it, those are already purchased, but that is sitting in warehouse. So my message to the Biden administration is deploy them, use them, finish the wall. But in other parts of the southern border, we need to beef up our technology, surveillance cameras, or any type of materials that will also help our Border Patrol agents to do their job instead of being just caretakers.
Do you feel like our Second Amendment is under attack by the Biden administration?
I totally believe so. Again,
will you vow to uphold it and maintain it with all your power?
Second Amendment legislator, and I will oppose any legislation that will hurt our Second Amendment rights.
What are 3 things that this club advocates for?
America first.
Our Constitution first. Our Constitution and our God-given rights.
And low crime.
And socialism doesn't work. I grew up in that country. I was born there. Doesn't work. Trust me. Let's keep America, America. Keep America great. We have to save America.
Wonderful. Thank you, ladies.
And all I want to say, please, please, vote, vote. Come and vote.
In person.
Where do you start? There's crime. We have more crime than we know what to do with in California. We have high taxes, high gas prices, high consumer prices, an education system that is ranked 49 out of 50 states. We have a long list of issues. We also have an issue about local control. As a city council person in Newport Beach for the last 8 years, I see the local control, the powers of local government taken away, grabbed away from Sacramento. We now have central planning in Sacramento. We have serious issues because we at the city level do not have control of our neighborhoods, our cities anymore. That relates to education, public safety, quality of life issues. Sacramento has gotten into our whole lives. So people ask, what does the assembly do? We have everything in a person's life, from their business, their quality of life, their children's education, their grandchildren's education, their neighborhood safety, their large business, their small business, their taxes. Everything starts in Sacramento. When I speak to voters, they're very concerned about crime. As Assemblywoman, I know that there's a bill being proposed to repeal Prop 47. What would you do to push this forward and advocate for this? Well, of course I would. As a Republican and as pro-public safety, we have to work across the aisle. Frankly, Republicans, as you heard me speak, we need more Republicans. That's what I'm working for, is getting more Republicans. So we need to partner with moderate Democrats, which can be done. Common sense issues. Common sense issues. My husband is a prosecutor, a career prosecutor, so I'm very familiar with crime issues and how sentencing laws have been reduced, jail sentencing, prison sentencing, parole. Crimes themselves, the definition of felonies have been reduced to misdemeanors. There's a whole gamut, but I cannot say that I'm going to Sacramento and I'm going to reduce crime in the state. We have to work really hard and get a coalition of people, victims, families and victims who've been affected by crime against a family member, to fight for changing our laws. That's the only way we can do it. But that's one of my number one priorities, if not my number one. I know you have a great chance of winning, and I wish your campaign all the success, especially since you're in my district. Well, I wish you success in your race. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for the interview. It's very nice meeting you. Yeah, thank you.